Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Talk to us about Red House.
I have resisted for years playing Hendrix songs because in the early days of my recording career, I was compared to Jimi Hendrix more than was comfortable for me. You know, so I strayed away from it. And in recent times, you sort of go, well, I'll just play this one. Of course, it turns out to be one that people enjoyed seeing me perform. And I haven't been doing it that long, but I had resisted Jimi Hendrix songs for a number of years, and that's one that sort of insisted that it be performed. So, short story, and there it is.
And people say, wow, he's just trying to be Hendrix. Look, he's playing a Strat. And you know, the Stratocaster is the single most popular guitar in the world. Right? Everybody plays a Strat.
I know.
You know, yeah, but I don't know. He holds his guitar.
Look at him.
Look at him.
I wasn't going to ask you about Hendrix until I got that question in the email today.
No, that's why I enjoy doing the song, and people seem to enjoy it. And it was a sort of a surrender to the powers that be, that it must be played. So there it is.
Fantastic. Can you guys sing a couple of bars of Crazy Moon for me? Because I love that song.
Crazy moon, I wish I had my guitar. How can you? No,
All right.
Why are you laughing at me? Putting on airs with me. You're making me feel terrific. Be specific.
There you go.
Crazy moon.
Yeah.
Making me fall in love.
That's my pal.
I signed a deal one time with Ahmet Ertegun with Atlantic Records, and he loved that song, An Impossible World and Full of Love, and those jazzy songs. And I was on that label for a year, and he says, "Yo, I love this stuff. We got to record it just like this, just guitar and little drums." He said, "But we'll never get it on the radio." And I said, "Okay." I was just coming out of the Joe Perry project, and we started Fahrenheit, and he let me go and do that on Warner Brothers. But that was one of his favorite songs.
When it was meaningful to get a song on the radio.
Yeah.
You know, that has changed.
That was Laura Branigan. Laura Branigan was big, and she was on Atlantic at the time. Yeah. And so that's my story about Crazy Moon.
Yeah.
It is a great life, this life of music, Ertegun said.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
He was something else, that guy.
Yeah. I went to his tribute in London.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I went to the 40th anniversary of Atlantic Records in New York City, Madison Square Garden, and I managed to get tickets to the reunion in London. It was amazing. Not just Zeppelin, but the whole
it was amazing.
A tribute to him.
We sent our tape in, and he to his nephew, Aziz Goksal, who was at Atlantic. And they told me that they were playing my tape, in those days with the tape, and Ahmed walked by his office in Atlantic in New York, and he says, "Who's that artist?" He said, "That's John Farren." He says, "You're working with this artist?" He says, "Yeah." He says, I want that, I want you to give me that, I want that to be my project." He called up the guy who was working with me, and he said, "I'm coming to Boston, and I want to see where you work, and I want to talk about your music." He came to my apartment. He had an apartment in Back Bay. And he came to my apartment. He sat in my studio, in a little room about twice the size of this, and we hung out for about 3 or 4 hours just listening to records and talking about music. And he did that twice.
That must have been something.
It's historic just to hear it. I get chills.
I'll tell you, at the time, I was not that aware of
his legacy.
He was the president of a label, but I didn't understand
the full meaning of
his legacy.
Of his legacy.
And he would bring records to listen to, and I would have records to listen to, and talk about producers.
Huh.
And then he'd leave. He would fly, and he would have his chauffeur drive.
Huh.
So he would have a driver around Boston.
Wow.
And he came down 2 or 3 times, and twice hung with me in my apartment.
That's wild. Isn't that wild?
Well, he always seemed to be down to earth. What I read about him in the footage, and he started this company on his own. Didn't he borrow money? He borrowed like $12,000 to start it on his own.
The first records he put out, he wrote.
Yeah.
So he was like, he wanted to come and see this. You know, I had a 1-inch 8-track and a board and he wanted to see the workshop. He wanted to kind of see how I worked.
Yeah.
And understand.
Get a sense of you.
Just understand who is this guy, because I like what I hear, but I need to know that he's doing it. I need to know that he's creating that. So I thought that was a trip.
Huh.
That was a trip.
Now you look back on
Great
that and you
story.
realize,
All I wanted to do was get a record out and go on tour.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Dude, just wait," because, and I'm like, coming out of the Joe Perry press, I'm thinking, wait.
there's no waiting.
There's no wait in my life. So I said, you know what? All due respect, if I could get out of this deal, I think I could get a rock deal.
Wow.
And he said, you know what? And he was like, oh, I hate it, but okay, you can
Wow.
let me out of the
Wow.
deal. Just like that, let me go. And then we signed in 6 months with Warner Brothers.
You would have to have been willing to be on Erdogan time, whatever that was.
It was,
You know
we're
what I
going to
mean?
put the record out when the time is right.
Erdogan time.
Yeah.
His vision.
Whatever, his vision.
His
right.
vision.
Right.
And he could, at the time I couldn't afford to wait like another year. I was on the label for a year. And he was like, let's just wait, be patient.
He's not in a hurry, you know.
I gotta pay my rent.
Ahmed Erdogan can take the long view.
The real story was I was itching to just get back out on the road
Sure.
and rock, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this kind of wait, right?
That's what drives you.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait and right didn't make sense to me as a younger guy.
Huh.
But we got Farren together, and we, you know, that was a blast. So that's a longer answer than.
I love it. I love it. So this is a question I'm going to ask everybody I interview. What do you want the next generation to get about music?
Well, I would say, I like all kinds. We were talking earlier. I like all kinds of music. I like rap music. I like good music,
Yeah.
and there's good music in every genre. I don't really like genres. I just like good music. Well, I would hate to see kids lose the ability to play real instruments. You know, I think electronic music it can be great, but I think it's important to have a critical mass of the young people be able to play guitar
Or piano.
or piano
Yeah.
or drums that you hit that resonate or real flutes and horns and
Something that's real.
real. So much music, almost 100% of the music that you hear on the radio today is electronic. It's computer.
Meaning computer generated or based.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's not by itself a bad thing, but if it becomes the only thing, I think that kids would lose richness. So I hope that live music.
I agree
kept
with
alive.
I agree with Charlie. It's the only thing that I lamented when hip hop first became a force, and I could see the handwriting
Sylvia
on the wall.
Robinson just died.
Yeah,
Did an
what-
article on her.
I know.
Oh,
When that first became a
Sugar Hill
force,
yeah.
what worried me was that what would be lost is a connection by musicians and artists to musical instruments.
Right.
That sampling
Right.
and using phrases from other records would be the only medium. I'm glad to see that hasn't happened, but it's still, I don't know, maybe it intimidates me.
Well, what has happened is that the music that you hear on the radio is electronic. It's generated by computers, and then most of these pop artists go out on the road and pretend
Yeah.
that they're playing, but they're just playing tracks.
Happens a lot more than you think.
Computerized tracks. And many of the times they're not even singing. They're singing into microphones, but what's coming out of the PA system is what they record.
Is the pre-recorded track. It happens more often. Remember when that was a big deal with Milli Vanilli?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
And everybody,
people were upset.
ooh, what a revelation. That happens every day, all day, on more tours than you'd ever imagine.
Big pop tours.
Oh,
Not
sure.
all of them, but a lot of them.
Many of them.
That's why, Taylor Swift, I think, is really talented. And she plays guitar and sings and writes her own songs. And I thought that was encouraging, But I think that to me, that's, not really the same. It's music, but it's not the same thing as people really playing and creating music.
So yeah, to the younger generation, we both hope that the connection to musical instruments doesn't ever go away. That we hope that that's maintained. Because I think there's something fundamental and required about that in order to claim the title. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else you want to say?
No,
Got a big show tonight?
we're looking forward to playing with Robert Cray. We're both fans.
Yeah.
And this is a wonderful venue.
Yeah, this is a great
And we're so happy to have met you and that you were able to come by.
Bright dressing rooms,
Yeah.
dry
Yes.
floors.
Yes. All good things.
Sure.
Dry floors.
Yeah.
The last interview I did with the walls were hunter green.
Ooh.
It's a really nice couch.
Thanks very much for taking the time.
Thank you for your time. It's really an honor.
Thank you.
Absolutely.